Hey guys, Dr. Decks here. I am back with Craig Fountain from Outdure, and we want to go over some more mechanics, some of the bracketry, and how the system actually mechanically goes together. So if you like this video, or you learn a little something about Outdure, or if you happen to breathe oxygen, click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content. All right, Craig, I just spent a week with you, and we basically have taken all these parts and assembled them into a deck frame and used it over the top of a waterproof membrane over livable space on a house. And we also created some amazing structure for a rail system, which actually you weren't too familiar with as well. So it was kind of a little bit of...
like handrail system.
Hot and cold kind of system, trying to figure out this and kind of engineering it as we went. Had a building inspection. The building inspector was absolutely cool with what we did, signed it off, and we'll be back for final, but he had to come and take a look. Very impressed. He said he's seen some commercial systems like this before, but never on a residential, so he was really eager to come over and check it out and see all the components. Enough of blibber blabber here. Craig, take us away. Show us the mechanics of this thing. What are your basics, and how does this thing really come together?
Yeah, okay, cool. So what we've done is tried to use the fewest amount of components possible. So, because the last thing you want to do is have a system where you're like, oh man, I've got 20 different brackets, and how does this all go together? So it really comes down to the patented 90 bracket that we've got. So it's an asymmetric bracket. And basically you can see it's got a different shape to it.
Right.
And we've designed all the profiles so that it's got a channel. This is the smallest profile, and you can this bracket goes into any of these channels. So on this size, we're going to go up to 2-inch, which is this one here. Let's get in there. There we can go. So you can see the bracket now goes either way. So we can slide it in this way. We can just push it in, or you can slide it in.
So one side locks in, one side pushes in.
Yep.
You're going to use fasteners on either one to lock it together, but one has a little bit more hands-free usage versus the other.
Yeah, so like a really good example is, say I'm going to put it into here. So it's just sitting there.
Right.
The bracket's there. You're not, it's like, it's holding it there for you. You don't have to have an extra set of hands.
Sure.
And you'll also notice that this has got 4 sections here. So you can joist join any of these at any height that you want through here. So you can just see how you can start to create any kind of structure you want.
Wow.
I can do this up here. I can do this down there. I can do it in the middle.
Great.
I can create even a joist bearer structure where I've got maybe I could have, say, the bearer in at this height, and then I can have my joists coming in at this height, and they're all creating the same structure.
And then you still have the same elevation on the top as well.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unique.
So you can use this as a large kind of perimeter joist, and then you could have like a 4-inch beam and then a 4-inch joist, and it all locks together perfectly.
Awesome. Awesome.
So that's how they get all connected. So if you're, it's super simple. If you've got 4 channels, you use 4 brackets. You got 1 channel, use 1 bracket.
Okay.
2 channels, 2 brackets.
Sure.
And there's full installation guide, so you can see exactly how all those connection goes together. The design that we do for you comes with the connection details to use for the design. So if we say you only have to use a certain amount of brackets, so if it's load bearing, you would use 4 brackets in the channel. Okay,
let's say, so I have a quick question. We haven't talked about this yet, so we'll just put it on camera. Let's just say I'm using a load bearing capacity. I'm actually using this as a ledger, and I have this as a joist.
Yeah.
Does it matter which way these brackets go in, or would you alternate them from the house to the joist?
No, you don't have to alternate them.
So if
they're all engineered 7 kilonewton per bracket.
Okay, so but if I was going to put these, if I was going to pre-install these on the ledger, like this, then I could just slide the joist in, and then it would still fit into the edge like this, and then it's so everything's at the same height.
Yeah. So it's how
that's pretty cool.
I've got one here that we prepared earlier.
Yeah.
You can see. This would come in like this. So if this was the maybe this is the ledger of the house.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to say I would put the brackets in this way. Get in there.
Right.
Slide that along.
Right.
I'd put 4 down there.
Right.
I'd put my joist into there like that.
And it
I
kind
just squeeze the
of,
brackets in.
you could actually take a clamp and hold this thing and your hand's free. But the other thing is, these are perfect height. These are so light, they're not hard to hold with one hand and put a screw in. Where
Yeah.
I'm hanging like if a 2x10 joist,
Yeah.
I'm holding that on my shoulder,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to finish nail it to the side of the house at the right height, hoping I don't slip or mess up or that I can hang on to it. Where this is like just cake.
And you're trying to hold it exactly the right height, right?
Correct.
While you're putting the fasteners in.
Right.
The bracket determines the height.
Even if you're off a little bit and you put the screw in, when it locks in, it's gonna lock it at the right height. Yeah. That's awesome. And so what's cool about this, you could actually pre-install all your brackets on the ground.
Yeah.
And do your complete layout on the ground. So all you got to do is bring this up here, lock it in. You can have these 4 loose, and then you just slide them over, lock those in, and you're done.
Totally.
Now, would that be
all 8 of them loose?
And then just bring them all together.
Yeah.
Or maybe have one one locked in at the right location, and then the other 7 can go in after the fact.
Yeah, totally. So you can set them all
I'm
out.
having another come to reality moment here. I mean, honestly, it will take a little bit longer than to install a joist hanger, but I think for all of we usually can't install a joist hanger until after the joist is hung on the house because of the thickness differences in our joist.
Yeah.
This joist is always going to be the same thickness no matter what.
Yep.
So there's a benefit there to that. Now, would you install the flat? No, you'd install it this way.
It depends which
because,
way.
well, if you're going to do a hidden bracket, you'd obviously do it like that.
You can do if you mean a hidden fastener.
Correct.
Yeah. But if you're putting screwing on hardwoods, then you can flip the joist up the other way.
No, I get it. You get it? You guys dig it? You get it? I think you get it. I got it. I'm getting it.
So once again, we can show how we can make a double joist.
Right. We were talking about this in an early video.
Rather than adding in another whole joist along here. But I just got to do it again.
Wait. You got to be off the... There you go.
Yeah.
Now it'll snap.
Okay. Yeah. Get in there.
There you go.
So then you screw that off.
Uh-huh.
There's your double.
So for a lot of PVC deck boards, when you're installing them, it's the manufacturer's recommendation that you never seam 2 deck boards over one joist. So let's make this crystal clear, guys. So when you're laying a deck, you're not supposed to do that. Okay? Each end of each deck board is supposed to land on a joist like that.
So
okay?
We would have that. And normally you'd have your channel up
if
this
this
way.
channel would be up as well.
So then you'd put in your other clip in there.
Yep, lock them together. Now you have full inch and, well, actually, it's better than 1.5 inches. You have 1 3/4 inches supporting each end of each deck board. So that's a pretty slick way to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So let's keep going on this one. You've got, so that bracket, obviously we've talked about how it can be used on the different profiles. And we've got some, so you can create any angle that you want as well. So you can get this, if you want to bend these to an angle, sometimes you might get an offcut of this.
Oh, yeah.
You just screw it, clamp it down to something, and then you can bend the brackets around to the angle that you want.
So these are skewable?
Yeah.
Okay, and how many times are you allowed to skew them?
I mean, I would say once or twice. Yeah, the most.
I mean, most other brands I've seen that have a skewable bracket say they're skewable one time.
Yeah.
So make sure if you're going to do something like that, that you kind of get the right angle that you're looking for. Sometimes when I'm doing skewable brackets, I'll actually create a template and skew the bracket to the template so I know I'm within a couple degrees. That way when you put in all your fasteners, you're not re-bending that bracket again.
Yeah.
It's really meant to be skewed once.
And it's actually super easy to do it. 'Cause you can screw this off onto there.
Yeah.
And then you get your other profile in here.
And then you can just bend it.
You got
you
heaps
can
of leverage on it.
Right.
So you're not trying to get your hand in there to bend
Right.
it.
Well,
You
that would be
actually use-
painful.
You use the profile
Mm-hmm.
to actually bend it around to where.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't even have to. Yeah, as long as that side's fastened, you can actually slip this in, and use it like and use your leverage as your
Yeah.
advantage. Sure, I could do that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we got that.
And
We
these
got-
are stainless steel, correct?
yeah, 304 stainless steel.
304 stainless steel.
Yeah.
And
They're
powder
coated
coated.
out. So yeah, they're basically taken up to like a 316 because they're coated stainless steel.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like super anti-corrosive, and then all the screws have shoulder washers on them. So
Yep.
you know this is actually isolated from the aluminum. So even though it's a stainless steel bracket, you're not getting your galvanic corrosion.
Well, you have the powder coating from this.
Yep.
And then you have the powder coating from that.
Yeah.
And then your screws are all powder coated.
And your screws are powder coated, and the screws
And they have
also got a shoulder washer.
Yeah, and they also have a protective washer.
Yeah. So when people question us on galvanic corrosion, we've gone to the absolute experts in that field and said, what do we need to do to minimize this? And they came up with the solution of this, and they've said, look, if you're in a real sea spray zone, there's other things that you can use in addition to this to actually take it up to like a real like coastal series. And you can put like this stuff called Tef gel, which is what you put on the thread of your screw, and that even isolates your stainless.
It's kind of like dielectric grease.
Yeah.
Huh. Put a little dielectric grease on your screws. Let's go super. I mean, that would be in an elite multi-billion-dollar resort that you're never going to have to replace this deck again. But if you're questioning some of these questions or asking some of these questions or thinking about some of these questions, think about the fact that if you're still here in 100 years, it may matter.
Yeah. For your grandson.
Your grandchildren's grandchildren. If they have a question, okay, if you can ask your grandchildren's grandchildren a question, but I can tell you right now you can't because you'll be dead, and they aren't born yet. Okay. Next.
So right, we've done 90 brackets of how you create corners. So you've got your corner detail. So obviously you're going to put your bracket in this way. So I can't reach around like that. I'm going to just change the angle of this so we can get it on the camera here. Right, so we've got two elements. This could be a perimeter joist, and this could be your joists here, like that. So you would typically, for a corner joist, you're going to put your bracket in. Obviously, it's sitting there like we've talked about, and you can join that. And the beauty of aluminum is that your cuts are so nice and square, obviously, if you've got your saw set up correctly. But this bracket makes it like such a square connection. You're not having to get your set square out, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, you've still got to make sure that you're building a deck that's
right. Yeah, you're gonna have to do some double checking here and there, guys. But I can tell you, after this is fastened, one corner, it's not going to be super stable as you assemble the entire joist set of this deck, and as you start mechanically putting it together is where you're going to see the value in how robust this becomes. Even this 2x2 channel, I was really shocked at how tight this becomes once you add all the other parts to it, just like a normal frame. It's like you're putting in a normal frame without any wiggle. And we have to make extra steps and precautions when we're doing this type of framing to make sure it doesn't wiggle. But if you're trying to build a frame out of 2x2 wood, you can't. It's just going to fall apart.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I mean, you'll die. How do you even do that connection?
Right?
You got to glue it and screw it.
Well,
like
yeah, and it's still not going to make the strength.
So what we do is we add in a whole box of screws. These stainless steel screws, you can see them there. They're black. They're stainless steel once again. They're 3/8 square drive, hex drive, with a self-drilling tip. And they go in like butter, right?
Yeah. Yep, they go in pretty quick.
Yeah. So you get a box of those with every component that you use. So whether you're going to use joist anchors, and we've got QR codes on the back of the packaging. So if you're unsure about what this component is and how you install it, then you literally scan the back of the box and it takes you to an installation video. So it's like, you can't muck it up.
Pretty smart.
So you get a box of those with all the components. So, or whether it's your brace cleats, which we're going to talk to you about shortly. But let's just go back to this 90 bracket. So you've got 2 screws here and 2 screws there. This bracket will take 7 kilonewtons of downforce. Like it's unreal how, like, from engineer, all the engineers out there will be going, yeah, okay, I got it. So,
and then there's others that'll be like, oh yeah,
yeah,
prove it.
So for low height decks, you can get away with like 1 bracket per connection for a non-load bearing connection. But if it's a load bearing connection, like you're actually cantilevering the joist out and you're using this as like an integrated beam, then you'll put a bracket on each side.
Okay.
So, and once again, you can decide which way around you want the bracket. So you can actually put, you can screw all your brackets on. So on the project that we just did, we actually had all the joists and we went and pre-screwed off all the brackets. We put the brackets in this way into the channel. And there's a little tips and tricks just to make sure if you pull the bracket in slightly, it means that when you screw it into here, it cranks the joist into that member there. And we had some other tricks where when you're screwing it off, you actually take this joist and you can roll it over and actually screw it that way. And then when you put the other bracket in, you just roll it over and screw it that way, and it's so much easier screwing down than it is to try and
from the
screw
side.
sideways. Yeah,
but the screws do make it pretty easy to go either way.
Yeah,
I found is when you're using an impact or a clutch drill every day, you kind of get used to a certain amount of force, so you kind of know what you need to drive and what kind of power you need to put into something when you're driving it in. When you're putting in thousands of fasteners every month or whatever. But like he says, work smarter, not harder, and make it easier on yourself. Pre-assemble some stuff, and it's going to go in. The install is going to go that much faster and that much more convenient. So.
Yeah, for sure. So once you've got those brackets on, you can literally just push them into the section like that. And if this is already in place and you're just placing joists in, then they'll hold themselves in the right place until you just want to come along and do your micro adjustment on your joist centers, and then you just screw them off.
Yeah, lickety splits.
And once again, you've got perfect heights. You're not having to worry about it. So
yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So that's the 90-degree bracket. Super common, probably what is the most common bracket that we use. Now, one of the benefits of aluminum is that you can butt join joists and beams. Obviously not mid-span, but within 1/3 of the span you can. And you use a component called a brace cleat. This is actually called a brace cleat flush. So it's a U-channel. It's got 4 screws, and basically you just put it in there like that. There's some, I normally do 2 screws here, and then on this screw here, I crank it in on a bit of an angle, and what that does is it just pulls this right in hard into there, and you get a super solid connection. So you put one of these on each side. So, well, if you were going to do it, I would do one side here, and then I would do one side over on this side here, and then that essentially creates just a full length. So for the project that we just did with drdecks, we actually had cut all the materials in half for shipping because we were shipping it from miles away. And then we just joined all the joists together, and they were just super solid.
Yep, super solid, worked good, and you're never going to see any of that at all once the decking's laid. Go to our Instagram page, and you can see all those steps in progress through all the videos and photographs that we post.
Yeah. Now we've got joist anchors.
Oh, yeah.
So there's basically 3 components here. You've got your 90 bracket, you've got your brace cleat, which is how you join them together. So corner connection. So if you've got a profile like this, obviously you're using 4 of these corners, 90-degree brackets. If you're joining 2 of these together, then you're using 4 of these on each side. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Whenever you've got a joist connecting to a beam, we use what we call a joist anchor. It's anchoring the joist down to the beam. Now, this is a design that we've developed. Once again, it's got its patent on it. How we connect, how it hooks over the joist and down into the beam and then screws off. And that keeps it super nice and square, stops the frame from racking. And you'd put one of these on either side depending on which kind of profile you're using, but that all comes in the installation guide, because obviously if you're using this, then you're using 2 on each side, and if you're using smaller joists, you don't need as many. Now, the cool thing about this joist anchor is that let's roll it over and say, okay, well, I'm going to use this side as my bearer, because I actually want to put my bearer on an angle because I'm going round here or what have you. You then flip this joist anchor around and you put it on there. We've extruded the joists in it, well, the profiles with grooves in them, so you know where you want your center line for your screw, and you can just screw that off there. So you can use your bearer on any angle that you want, and you know that you're still going to get heaps of beef of what you're screwing into.
Yeah, love that. That was one of the most impressive parts of the system, is as we were screwing things together, all I was doing was I was doing a lot of the install of these clips. So I would just take one, get it ready to go, and I was using an impact driver. So I would just put one finger on here and then have my impact driver go, and then any rattling or vibration was not a problem. I just until the screw catch, and then drop it in, boom, you're done, on to the next one. And we were just alternating those back and forth over the top of the beams, and it worked really good.
Yeah.
Held everything together really nice and tight.
Cool. Right, now just got a couple of last ones to do. So obviously we've got the profiles with the flat section and the channel section. We've got the double joist bracket for the channel, and then we have a double joist bracket for the flat.
Wow.
So I'm going to show you now. We just clip that into there, like so, and you've got the same equivalent one on this side. Like that. So you've got double joist brackets for if you're going to screw hardwood down.
Yep.
Or double joist brackets for if you're going to use a groove board.
Yep.
Not only that, roll this over. Now this is your perimeter joist. You might want that double joist bracket for screwing off
Fascia.
a trim board, fascia board. Not only that, you have, if you want to, you can use this other bracket. I'm going to show you the longer one.
Yeah, the long one.
So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, and now we can put a piece of multi-width on here, and I've measured it out with this system, and with it's just about 7 1/4 inches to the top of the decking.
Hold that, I'll just grab the decking board.
Okay.
So let's put a clip on there and a clip on there, because then I can show. So decking board with clips there, and then this multi-width comes in over there.
Yeah, look at that.
Pull that down there so you can see. Clip.
And now you have something to attach your multi-width board to as well. And that's the type of trim style I use. If you're going to run your deck board over the top or have a surface border and have this underneath, then you can just run a narrower piece of material, and you might have to shave the bottom of those brackets down.
But you can see the bottom of that bracket is supporting the bottom of the board. Bottom edge of the board.
Yeah.
It makes it so easy to install because you're not having to hold the trim board up while you screw it off.
It's awesome.
So you use these trim brackets when you've got every joist.
Yep.
So 1200 or 12 or 1600 16 centers.
Yep.
You've got different versions of the clip of that trim bracket, but generally this one is the one that gets used mostly.
Yep. We just cut down a bunch of those we used one for a surface border as well, because we had to use we had a surface border that was hanging off the side of the deck that was covering a stub wall or a parapet, and we were having issues figuring that out, so we were able to use these that way to keep that surface border without penetrating into the stub wall.
Yeah. Cool.
So there's some other alternate ways to use the products. You just got to open your mind to it.
Yeah, so I think that wraps up the basics of the mechanics of how it goes
All right,
together.
guys. Well, look, I know you're going to have some questions. If you do, leave them below or hit up Outdure, and you can ask Craig directly as well, or one of his team members will get back to you guys. Thanks for watching this video. We really appreciate it. If you like what you saw, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content. Leave us a question below, and don't forget to like these videos. Also, please don't forget to go subscribe to Craig's page because he flew so far to come and shoot this video with me. Craig,
Cool, man.
thank you so much.
Oh, it's been
my
my pleasure.
pleasure. My
Yeah,
pleasure. And you guys have a great day.